Okay, so the first topic that we'll be discussing today would be types of communications, and in types of communications, we'll be discussing about four topics. One is the verbal communication, the non-verbal communication, the written communication, and the visual communication. Now, what is communication? This is the most essential part of the human life, that or any organisms or any animals, including humans, that we have the power to communicate. What does we do with communication? With communication, we express each other's feelings, thoughts. We have anything in our mind, we express it. We talk. That is the reason we have languages, and we have got so many different languages. We have got a lot many versatility across the geographies. So the important thing of employability skill, as because all of these topic are part of employability skills, communication is the one most important thing that drives us towards our success or towards our achievement. So we need to be communicating all the time. So communication is the ability to tell other people what you want. Okay, like if we are hungry, then we communicate with our moms, with our mother, that we are hungry, please give me some food to eat. If we need something, we communicate it with our father, that we need something, please you buy me a pen, or you buy me a school bag, or you buy me clothes. So this is what communication does mean. So when it comes to communication, as I said, there are four parts. One is the verbal, the non-verbal, the written, and the visual. Now, what is verbal? Verbal communication is also defined to be as oral communication. Now, it is a style of communication where you mostly interact with others through spoken words. Okay, and it is an interactive form of communication. It's very powerful. Okay, so you need to be face to face, or you need to be over the phone talking to someone. You are face to face, you are in a group. Okay, you are talking to your parents, you are talking to your teachers, you are talking to your friends. So all of this type of communication comes under the verbal or the oral communication. Now when you talk about any such communication, there are pros, that means the positive part to it or advantages to it, and there are cons or the negative part to it or the disadvantages to it. So the first thing is that we'll be discussing about the pros. Okay, what are the advantages? So when it comes to verbal or oral communication, the first pros or the advantage that we'll be discussing is the straightforward. It is quite straightforward to express the feeling. Okay, so that means you can speak your heart out or your mind out to someone you are intending to speak. Okay, so it is quite easy, like for example, as I said, you are hungry, and you are going to your mother and speaking to her directly that ma, I am hungry, please give me some food. So that emotions that's coming out from you is understood by your mother, and that is how she takes her action against it. Okay, and she starts preparing food for you. The next point would be, it is a speedy form of communication. It's quite fast, so there are no connection issues, two of us or three of us, or either we are one to one or we are one to many. Okay, we are standing, we are sitting. Okay, we are communicating with each other, we are working and we are communicating with each other. There is no barriers to it. Okay, we are using our own mother tongues and we are communicating, so there is no barrier to it. Okay, so you do not need to call, depend upon someone, or the medium like telephone or internet. So you're just talking to each other man to man or person to person. Okay, so it is a very speedy form of communication. The next is, it gives instant feedback. Okay, like you are happy, you are expressing it to your friend, you can see the feedback on his or her face. You are angry, you are shouting or screaming out to someone, you can see the expression on his or her face. So it is quite instant, and this is the most preferred way of maintaining any sorts of relationship, or sorting any sorts of problem. when you have the power to communicate verbally in a good way. Okay, people can see your expression, people can see your people can have enough eye contact, people can see your body language, which is very, very important. So verbal communication is very, very important for our day to day work, okay, and for our future, for the overall development of our future. Okay, so these are some of the advantages. Now with every advantages there also need to be some disadvantages. So the disadvantages come with the cons part, like it is not possible to communicate to people in different setup. Like for example, your friend is somewhere far apart from you, like 50 to 60 to 70 kilometers or 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers away from you. So that means when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about people who are at different locations. Then you cannot have verbal communication directly. Okay, so you have a barrier, then you have a barrier of distance. So so you cannot directly jump to that place and have and establish a communication with that particular person. So this is again difficult. Second is the proximity. So it requires a proximity. That means the sender and receiver must be at the same place, same time to communicate. Okay, they must be at the same place and the same time to communicate. That is one cons. So the next con or disadvantage would be uh, it is quite impossible to keep records of verbal communication. So that means we cannot put any records of oral conversations, like we cannot write it down, we cannot put necessary notes on that, and it is quite unsolicited. That means you cannot prove a validity or legality of a verbal communications. Two of us are having communications and I told someone that tomorrow I'll give you 50 rupees. Okay, if you need a help, I'll give you 50 rupees tomorrow, but I have told that verbally. So when tomorrow my friend comes for asking me about 50 rupees, I can turn myself up. No, I haven't told you that, because you do not have any valid authenticity for that. So this is one problem with verbal communication. Okay, the thing is, so that is the reason you cannot. The next point is quite similar to the point that I have already mentioned. Is like it's not possible to represent things officially or legally with the help of verbal communication. Okay, the next point could be, it's not a complete form of communication. It is not defined to be as a very complete form of communication, because then you are not mixing lot of other things, like you are not mixing any channel of authenticity, or you are not documenting anything. So you are just expressing your emotions, you are just communicating with someone. Okay, so that makes it an incomplete form of communication. And then there might be other emotional barriers. For example, this could also be considered as a hindrance of verbal communication, is like you have been told to give a speech and you are tired. It's a communication. So I have been called upon on the stage and I have been told to give a speech and I'm tired. So my emotions would not enact exactly what it would not enact exactly with the particular emotion of the speech that I am supposed to give. So there are emotional barriers to this kind of communication. So this is what the pros and cons of a verbal communication or oral communication is. Go through the video over and over again if you don't understand, or if you think that I'm running bit fast. So the next form of communication that we'll be moving towards would be a non-verbal form of communication. So when it's come to non-verbal communication, this is a process of communication where sending and receiving of messages is quite wordless. That means you are using lot of your body gesture, like your hands, your eyes, your all those sorts of gestures, that is quite short and that is restricted towards body movement. So voice tone, okay, like I'm using my hands now, so this might be considered as a, this is a gesture which is considered to be a non-verbal communication. Sometimes, you know, in the class when all of you are gossiping a lot, and a teacher might raise their finger and say, just give this sign. So that means what, that is a sign that you must keep quiet. Okay, someone is quite angry, their cheeks might turn red, their eyes might turn red. Okay, so then you are getting the message loud and clear that your mom is very angry, for example. Okay, or your sister or your brother is very angry. Okay, someone is having a very, someone has had a very good news, and she or he is very happy, and that you can see in her or his face. Okay, they would be blushing, they would be having small smiles. Someone is very clever. Okay, is quite clever, you know, by the body language, or his or her gesture of the lips, like you know, she or he is telling a lie, but it sounds like a truth, and you are, you know, you are giving a very mischievous smile. So then people who understands it can catch you out, like, yes, you are not telling the truth. So this kind of communication is considered to be a non-verbal communication. And obviously, again, we'll be discussing about the advantages and disadvantages of a non-verbal communication. Let us first come to the advantages or pros. It is very easy to demonstrate because it's quite short. Okay, it makes demonstration very useful using noticeable non-verbal cues. When you call it cues, 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 stands for you know, things like gesturing, body gesture, using of your hands, finger, your eyes, eyebrows, okay, your cheeks, your head, okay, turning your head, and all of this thing, and body language. So that I said, like, if someone is quite angry, okay, it can be very much noticeable from their eyes, or you know, their cheeks, that they're turning red. Next is is a very useful for, is very useful for conveying messages. You know, like I said, that if someone, if a class is making too much of a noise, I can just raise my finger to my lips, and this would do the work. Okay, so it's very easy to convey. Next is, there are no language barriers. If you even turn up to a different land where different people speaks different language than yours, okay, you can use your sign language. Okay, you can use your hands, your fingers, to put a sign language. Like you might be seeing in a cricket match, when there is a decision that has to be made by a third umpire, they make the umpire in the ground, they make a sign like square, so it shows the TV. Okay, so that means the decision is going to the third umpire. So this doesn't have a language barrier, because you do not need to speak. So that is quite easy. Next is very fast. Okay, so there are certain gestures, there are certain things like handshaking. So it's a gesture, that means you are friendly, you are becoming friendly to that person, you are welcoming that person. So it's quite fast, so that person would know instantly that you are welcomed. So these are some of the advantages. That is very easy to demonstrate, very useful for conveying messages, no language barrier, and very fast. Now let's come to the disadvantageous part. In a disadvantageous part, the first disadvantage of a non-verbal communication would be, it is not suitable for lengthy messages. Okay, it's not at all suitable for lengthy messages, because it basically uses cues like gestures, body language, and voice tone. So it is quite understandable that you cannot convey longer messages with the help of non-verbal communication. Again, like verbal communication, as we said, it is not a complete form of communication. This also justifies with the non-verbal communication. This is again not a complete form of communication, because there are a lot of other things that need to be amalgamated with the communication part. Okay. Next would be chances of misinterpretation. Okay, sometimes the message might go wrong. Okay, sometimes the message might go wrong, the body gesture might prove wrong to the one who would not understand it, and might take it as an insult. So sometimes this doesn't work. Sometimes people do not understand the gesture completely, because they are asking for more of an information from you other than the gestures. So that might not go good with it, because if you for example, if you are trying to put a respect, you cannot call your father or mother by the waving of your hands. We can do it with our friends, okay, or our youngest. So that is one important thing. hence there are chances of misinterpretation. Okay, so that would put a complete wrong message to your parents or your elders. Okay, that would be a disrespect, so we cannot do that. Next is regional and cultural differences. To some, the gesture might mean something good. To the other part of the world, the gesture might mean something which is not acceptable in the society. Like our society is a conservative society. If you go to the Western society, people when they greet and meet, they put cheek on cheek. Okay, they put cheek on cheek, be it a woman or a man, they put cheek on cheek, and they that is their gesture of welcoming them. But in this part of the world, that is not acceptable, so you cannot do that. You might get a slap out of it from the person. So that is not at all acceptable. So people might not understand it completely. Okay, depending upon the geographies. So these are the cons of a non-verbal communication. That means not suitable for lengthy messages. It is again an incomplete form of communication, chances of misinterpretation, and regional and cultural differences. Now the next part of communication that will move forward would be the visual communication, things that we can see and we can understand, that remains for a longer time in our mind. Okay, so we'll be then discussing about the visual communication. Okay, so coming to the visual communication, so visual communications are those that we can see, so we can visualize. For example, an advertisement. Okay, for example, posters, logos, okay, the car logos and all, then signboards, hoardings, all of these are part of the visual communication. So now again we'll be coming, so these are very powerful because you see a banner or an advertisement of a product, and then it entices you. Like for example, mobile devices, lot of e-commerce platforms like Flipkart, okay, Amazon, they provide such visualistic approach of a newly launched mobile device, and their advantages have been put, the features have been put in a small piece of content. So that is quite enticing to our eyes, and you can keep it in your mind for a very long period of time. So these are very good when it comes to marketing a product. So when it comes to media, so these are very good form of communication. So again, with all the other communication that the other two communications that we have discussed, we'll again discuss the positives and the negatives. So let's come to the positive part of visual communication. So it reinforces other forms of communications with it. That means oral communication, written communication, everything put together, and you can create a fantastic visual communication. Okay, so one example is the advertisement. So it makes the message more clear, more understandable. So for example, when I am when a teacher, for example a science teacher, is teaching you something that is that represents a body part. So if there are diagrams attached to it, in science you people do a lot of diagrams to support your explanation. So that is again a visualistic communication. So it's a visual communication. So that makes things more interesting, more understandable. Okay, so these kind of things, okay, are very, very important when it comes to visual communication. The next thing that we might discuss is, like, the next point would be, it can explain things in the way which are not possible through words. Sometimes a picture, like a cartoon, is worth 1,000 of words. Okay, so maybe a company head or a company manager wants to have the understanding how the company has performed in 2019 and what it is performing now, what it has performed in the month of April in 2019, and what it has performed and what it is performing in the year 2020 in the month of April. So if the manager head of that particular company wants to find a contrast, there is graph that would represent the data, okay, of how the company fared then and how the company fared now. What are the areas the company needs to look for, and what are the mistakes the company have done then, and what are the mistakes the company are doing now. All of these things can be put forward with the help of a chart or with the help of a graph. Such simple understandability of a graph, like everyone can understand how a graph works. Okay, you would be understanding how a chart works. So that is how things can be done. And obviously when you are talking about pictures, when you are talking about advertisements or hoardings or a sign, it doesn't require you to be highly qualified, or it doesn't require you to be jumping off your mother tongue and putting some other languages or learning some other languages to do it. So the third point would be, the third advantages would be, it clears the barrier of qualification or language. So visual communication can successfully convey the intended message to all without any prerequisite of having any understanding of a specific language or a subject, because you are putting things in the form of pictures and so on. So it's quite easy. So these are the three advantages that we discussed of visual communication. One, which it reinforces other forms of communication put together, like we can put verbal communication, we can put non-verbal communication and visual communication together and produce a fantastic product, and which would be more enticing and interesting to a lot of people and masses. And next would be, it can explain things in the way which are not possible through words. That means you can put graphs, you can put charts, okay, you can make pie charts, and you can make people understand about what are going around with that particular area. And then it clears the barrier of qualification or language. Now let's come to the disadvantages part. Again, it would be having some disadvantage. Having a visual communication is quite expensive, because you need to prepare, for example, a logo, you need to design it, you need to put it into printing, then you need to prepare a poster, you need to draw it, okay, you need to design it again. And we have got computer aided designs to do that, so it is quite costly, not everyone can afford it. So, and it takes extra works, it takes a lot of human hours to put a good interesting picture or poster, so that you can sell the product, so that you can convey an important message to it. You might be seeing a lot of things done in the form of posters that is very effective. Okay, like the current pandemic situation, you might find a lot of posters that proves how the health workers are working in this front, and how we should be more understandable towards the health workers. Okay, so that makes things quite expensive. Then next is, it requires some sorts of storing. Okay, like if the last election a party has printed a lot of pamphlets. Okay, you might be seeing when the election time comes, the parties goes with a lot of pamphlets, poster, this and that. So any political group or party producing so much of pamphlets and posters, and then carrying it for the next election, and then storing them in a warehouse or somewhere, is quite difficult, because then that might get destroyed, then there will be wastage of manpower, wastage of money, wastage of things. So that requires a specialized kind of storing area, so which at times is not very much affordable. Next is quite time consuming, because quite obviously when you are creating a poster, when you are creating any kind of pictures or pamphlets, you are putting a lot of ideas and thoughts, innovations and creativity. So it's not as easy as the other form of communication, so it requires time. Next is, again, like other communication, it's not a complete form of communication, because it requires some other forms of communication to precisely deliver the message. Because when you're putting a poster, surely you are not putting your emotions or expressions like the verbal communication. Okay, like we use a lot of emojis and emoticons in our messages these days. That is actually we put because we are writing something in text which doesn't have an emotion. To justify that, we put some kind of emoticons or emojis. And now put together, again, it is not very much, because someone can lie around. If I am not happy, I am sad, but I am still putting a text that I am happy, and I am putting that happy emoji. It doesn't justify that how I am feeling right now. So again, this is not a complete form of communication. So the next part of communication that would be moving for would be the written communication. So we have completed 3 communication as of now. So the next would be the written communication that will be moving. Okay, so the next the last topic of the day would be understanding about the written communication. So written communication, as you know, is a part or a form of communication which we use through writing. Okay, writing a letter, writing a curriculum vitae or a biodata, writing a paragraph, writing a story. So all of this form of communication comes under written communication. So let's go with the advantages first. So written communication has a permanent storage place, because whenever you write, you're writing it in a diary, you're writing it in a copy, you can store it, you can keep it. So it has a permanent storage space. Okay. The next is written thing stands for legality. So when you're writing a letter, when you are writing when you are writing a letter for a particular purpose, for example a legal letter, or you are applying to a company, so it holds a permanent place, it holds an accountability that you have written, that you have mentioned. Okay, so that is why it is considered to be as the best one of the best form of communication. Then you can circulate it to a lot of people at a time. So mass circulation is very much possible with the help of written communication. That means any author writing a book can sell it to so many people, okay, about her or his ideas and what the content of the book is. So million of people can read across the globe. You are writing something in media, in this social media, or in digital media. So you are writing a blog, you are writing a story, a snippet, whatsoever it is, it can reach to millions of people. Next is it's suitable for lengthy messages and information. That means you can write a lot of explanation, reports, budgets and other manuals. Okay, so that is why it is quite suitable. So these are some of the points on the advantages of using a written communication. The next would be the disadvantages. In the disadvantages part, the first thing that we'll be discussing about the cost. So it's quite costly writing things. You need to invest things on pen, paper. Then if you go for digital medium, then you need mobile, tablets, computers. So that makes the affair a bit costly. Next is just time consuming. Writing a book takes a lot of time. The authors who are writing best-selling books might take 2 to 3 to 4 years to actually complete the book. So it is time consuming than oral communication, for example. Next is the barrier of qualification and languages. If I don't know English or don't understand English, for example, I cannot read an English book. If I don't understand Marathi or Tamil, I cannot read a Tamil or Marathi book. So there is a language barriers, of course. And then the cost on storage. You need to store it somewhere. For example, in digital media, you need to store it in a hard disk, you need to store it in a pen drive or a flash drive or CDs, DVDs. Sometimes this might make the entire thing a bit costly. So these are the disadvantages of written communications. So by this we end the types of communication discussion and the topic. So we have discussed 4 topics. We have discussed the verbal communication, the non-verbal, the visual communication and the written communication, both the advantages and disadvantages. Those who doesn't have the book, okay, I'll be putting forward a note, okay, in the Dolphin app. So you can write it down. As of now, I said that maintain a copy. I'm saying it again, maintain a copy, because when the school resumes, the first thing that I'll be looking into is your copy of the notes. Maintain it as date, maintain it as topic name, and maintain it at what are the topics that I've given and the subtopics. Maintain it in a proper way. Okay, so please go through with the video nicely and properly. You can rewind again. That is the power of a video class. You might be having hearing lot of noises surrounding to my place. Is quite understandable because the setup is different. I don't have a soundproof house, so you do not need to concentrate on that. So what we'll be doing after this is, those who have got the book, you have the exercise attached to it. I would suggest you complete the exercise work, okay, if you can. So you make 2 different copies for that. If you are doing the exercise work, make sure that it is a school copy you are making for. Okay, those who still could not buy a copy and the book, I'll be giving you the topics, the pros and cons part. You just note it down as of now in your copy. Keep it with you. When the school resumes, or when you are in a situation to buy the book, you can maintain it in a details. Okay, and do let me know in the comment section of the link that will be provided in that particular Dolphin application, that which all things that you want me to discuss in the next class out of the things that you have discussed now. So I'll be able to do that in the next class, okay, on next Thursday. So the next Thursday we might be discussing something else, or we might be discussing the problems that you encounter with this topic. Okay, so thank you for watching the entire video, and make sure that you keep a note of everything correctly. Okay, thank you.